All right, no visuals, no camera. I'm just going faceless and I'm going raw in this live stream. So, UFC 315 just wrapped up, and yeah, honestly, man, not really my favorite card. And I was hyping the fuck out of this pay per view. I mean, it wasn't horrible. Like Bilal JDM actually was a war fight of the night candidate if it wasn't officially fight of the night. I think it should have been. Shevchenko Manin was pretty decent. I mean, people call that fight boring. I thought it was entertaining just by the fact that Manin was able to turn around such a horrible first round and actually almost win the rest of the fight. Although Eamon was good, just disappointing turn of events. And then, of course, Grasso suffers a defeat at the hands of Natalia Silva. But at least Benoit Saint Denis is back. Uh, Mike Malott wins. I got that pick wrong. Jessica Andrade got steamrolled by Jazz Divizius, which I'm not surprised that happened. I kind of went with a ground and pound TKO. That's what I thought would happen, but instead, quick takedown. She did to Jessica what Jessica usually does to others. Picked her off her feet, slammed her down, immediately got to the back mount and choked her out. Andrade's career is cooked, bro. She's been washed, but she just keeps getting worse and worse every single fight. What's up, my brother? Honestly, I feel bad for Bilal. In just I just hate how the fans are kicking Bilal while he's down. Me too, bro. And I hate how fans were like waiting for the downfall of Bilal Muhammad. Like I never understood the Bilal hate. Like I never got it. Like people just they said, "Oh, he's boring," but his fights aren't really boring. I mean, his fight with Burns was boring. His fight with Luque was kind of boring, but he had an exciting fight with Brady, an exciting fight with Leon. I just think fans they don't like or they don't like Bilal because they saw him as a bum. And then all of a sudden, he defied everyone's expectations. He beat Wonder Boy, the fan favorite. He beat Luque, the fan favorite. He beat Burns, who was on a run, arguably on a run towards another title shot, who had an active 2023. He shut Burns down. And people they don't like that. They don't like that the guy they thought was horrible, and I guess has an unlikable personality, is winning all these fights that they feel he shouldn't be winning. So therefore, instead of just giving credit where credit is due, they double down on the hate, but not me. Like Bilal's proven me wrong countless times, and I've owned up to it. And I'm like, okay, Bilal is better than I thought. But why am I not surprised that by the time I finally picked Bilal, he loses to Jack? Like I had a feeling that was gonna happen. I picked Bilal, but I was worried about my pick. I'm not gonna lie. Like I had a feeling that JDM was gonna come back with improved takedown defense because everyone just kept milking the hell out of the narrative that JDM can't wrestle. He got taken down by Basil Hafez. He got taken down a bunch by Burns. Imagine what Bilal will do. And then I just knew they might jinx it. I still went with my pick. Like I didn't trust my gut. I just want to trust the facts that JDM has shown vulnerability in his wrestling. And Bilal, right now, currently seems to be one of the best wrestlers at 170. But JDM went out there. I mean, Bilal didn't shoot much early, but Jack didn't really give him options to shoot. Like Jack Della Maddalena made it difficult. He was throwing like body shots, I'm sure. So every time Bilal wanted to level change, he would meet like a lower center shot. Like JDM had good counters that would make him hesitate from shooting. And then whenever Bilal would shoot, JDM was ready. He was ready for those underhooks, and JDM was not a coward like Leon. Like he didn't hesitate. He didn't surrender to the pressure of Bilal. Like he stood in the pocket, he threw back, and he never lost composure once. So I mean, congrats to JDM. Great performance by Jack Della Maddalena. Um, Not surprised that he won. I knew he could win. I just didn't trust it because of the run Bilal's been on, and Jack hasn't looked great in some fights. But JDM is dangerous. JDM is a very dangerous man. Heavy hands, great boxing. And now with his takedown defense being improved, and now that he's training with Craig Jones, Jack is going to be a problem. And now I guess this lines up JDM versus Makachev. Um, let's be real. Most MMA fans who talk crazy on a keyboard are pussies. They wouldn't have the courage to talk that shit in real life. Facts. I mean, you got a lot of people shitting on Alexa Grasso too. Like a lot of people talking crap about Alexa because she's lost to two, high level opponents. Couldn't beat Valentina twice. Couldn't turn back the rise of Natalia Silva. So you got people out here calling her the female Matt Serra, saying she was never good. And that's why I said that Alexa Grasso needed to win that fight. I said she had to win. I said she could not afford to lose. I said she cannot afford to lose this fight. I said she had to win to prove a point, to prove something, and now she's lost. It's kind of like where does she go from here? Is she even going to be remembered? Or she will be remembered, but people are now only going to regard her as the quote unquote fluke champion. And as a Grasso fan, I can't stand that, man. It don't sit right with me. BSD still didn't look good in my opinion. Yeah, he didn't look good. I mean, he was dominating um in that first round. I think got the immediate takedown, almost sub Kyle Prebalek, and then round two, he started getting tagged, but then BSD and BSD fashion just came out there, and he just completely overwhelmed. He completely overwhelmed. Uh, he completely overwhelmed. Um, he completely overwhelmed Kyle Prebalek with that pressure and those elbows. They were damaging, man. But I'm glad that Benoit Saint-Denis is back, and that was like the only finish on the main card. Yeah, I agree. I picked Joel Alvarez to win that fight before he like randomly pulled out last minute and then decided that he's going to the welterweight division. Is it just me or did Bilal Muhammad kind of look slow last night? Like I thought his speed didn't look the same compared to when he fought Leon Edwards. Like early Bilal just looked slow, he looked flat, his footwork didn't look good. His in and out movement didn't look good. I mean, when he started putting his foot on the gas and pressuring, he was effective. He was touching JDM. He was catching him. He was tagging him. But he didn't look like the same guy who shut down Burns' offense, who completely pressure cooked Leon. And I understand like styles make fights, and I know Jack is different than Leon, but it's something about Bilal that just didn't hit the same. See, I'm not the only one who sees this. I'm not the only one who sees this. Like something looked wrong with Bilal Muhammad. I don't know if it's because he was coming off a layoff and he had that toe infection and he couldn't train for a few months. I don't know if that was the case. But I mean, he had a layoff going into the Leon fight too. Just the difference between the Leon fight and the Jack fight is the Leon fight. He was coming in healthy. He wasn't coming off like a nasty infection. So that could have maybe affected him. I don't know. Yeah, he looks Jack. Bilal looks slow, but he also looks very powerful. Even though I'm sure Jack will say his shots didn't hurt him. Like when I was watching it live, Jack was landing some really good shots, like really, really hard punches on Bilal. On Jack, Bilal was landing good punches on Jack Della Maddalena. Is what I'm trying to say. Who do you think wins? Jack Della Maddalena or Islam Makhachev? Now that might be the fight that might happen. Yeah, right now I'm not sure who wins. I mean, I could see Islam winning maybe because I do think he's better than Bilal, and knowing that he's the pound for pound great, he's got the fight IQ that he has, he's got the team that he has. Like he might find a way potentially. And I know Jack had a great performance yesterday, but he still doesn't strike me as someone who's like unbeatable. And I don't think Jack's going to be champ for a long time anyway. I think the welterweight title is going to pass around for a bit. I think Brady could beat him. And honestly, call me crazy. I think Ian Gary would have a chance at beating him as well. I mean, Jack would probably win, but Ian does very good against knockout artists. And we can't forget Jack almost lost to Kevin Holland. And I could see Ian kind of shutting down his power, using that distance management, just frustrating him, kind of like what he did to Carlos Prates. And then we got Buckley in the picture as well. Shavkat Rachmanov, that's kind of a 50-50 fight, but Rachmanov seems overdue to win that world title. And I think he would have beat Bilal if they would have fought in December. But yeah, again, I don't see JDM as like the next dominant welterweight champion. I think we're gonna see a couple new champions, and I think that he's the most beatable champ right now for Islam to take the belt off of. And I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but Islam definitely has more than a chance to win that fight. Yeah, no, I did see that. I saw all the shots that Bilal Muhammad landed. Like I was impressed. It's just I feel like when he started turning up the pressure the way he did in the third and fourth, it was too late. And it's so unfortunate. I picked Bilal to win, and I would have been right if he was able to hold that top position for the rest of round five when he got that takedown. Like if JDM didn't get back up and start killing Bilal and damaging him up, busting up his face, like where he battered him with that knee. If that didn't happen, I would have got that pick right, and I would be like probably 4-4 on title fights this year. I think I'm 3-5. The ones I got wrong were Umar, Tatiana, Pereira, Diego, and the only three I got right were Islam, Dricus, and Valentina Shevchenko. And I wish I was wrong about the Valentina Shevchenko fight, man. It's such a bummer that she won. And I know Val fans on this live stream are like, "Oh my gosh, DJ, you're such a hater. You're such a petty hater." For me, I'm just all about fairness in this sport, man. And I'm not trying to hate. I don't. That's not. It's not like I hate on dominant champions, but it's just annoying whenever I see dominant champs I support fall from grace, but then dominant champs I don't vibe with are always the ones who have like infinite comeback stories and don't fall from grace like that. And Valentina just so happens to be in that story arc with one of my favorite fighters, Alexa Grasso. And as a Grasso fan, I really wanted Grasso to end that reign for good. I wanted her to solidify herself as the legitimate champion who's better than Valentina Shevchenko. And instead, we're in the position we're in where Val's the champ 2 times, and Grasso is now out of the picture, 2 losses in a row. And now people are hardly going to be talking about her while people continue to celebrate the legacy of Val, which, she's earned it. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. It's just, it kind of sucks seeing a fighter you support kind of become like a flash in the pan kind of champion. Like Grosso's just been reduced to like, now nothing more than just a background character in Val's story, just to be written off as that quote unquote fluke champion. Dakota beats them all, or beats them all. Did you see my on that community tab where I posted my predictions for the top 5 of women's flyweight 4 years from now? I did not realize Jazz Davicius was older than Manon Furo. And I didn't include Manon in the list because I'm like, Manon's going to be 40 by 2029 or 39. So I didn't include her, but I included Jasmine. And I might have to like reassess my prediction and do like an actual video on this. Because 4 years from now, I want to see if I'm gonna get that pick right. But how I had it was Dakota Ditcheva is the champion. I mean, she's young, so I can see her being a UFC champion 4 years from now. I mean, I think she'll be in the UFC by next year, but I could see her being at the top of the division, maybe being that next dominant champ at women's flyweight. And then I had Natalia Silva as like the number 1 contender, Jazz Davicius at number 2, but that's probably not going to happen if she's older than Manon. So I have to rethink that. And then at number 3, I was debating whether I should put Macy Barber or Erin Blanchfield. I put Barber ahead of Erin, even though I don't even know if I'm going to pick her to beat Erin. I put Barber at 3, Erin at 4, and for 5, I just left it as like an open filler spot. Like any of these like dark horses or prospects at flyweight could fill that gap. I'm just not really aware of anyone right now who's on the come up who could maybe be like a future top contender. And I didn't include Grasso because unfortunately I think by that time she might be on like the washed veterans list where like she'll still be around, but she'll be 35 years old. And if she can't beat Natalia Silva, she can't beat Valentina Shevchenko twice. This division is getting so much better. Like Grasso beating Val that one time definitely elevated that division to the next level. It created some movement in women's flyweight, but with how much better this division's getting, Grasso unfortunately is not the best in the division. And this division is only going to get better from here. And even as Grasso's biggest fan, I do see her kind of getting drowned out by the continuing evolution of the division. And it's funny because I do have Barber listed in there and not Grasso, and Grasso beat Barber. And it's not because I think Barber would beat Grasso in a rematch um or is better than Grasso. It's just because Barber's younger. She's like 2 years older than me. I was born in 2000. She was born in like 1998. She's like what, 26, 27 years old. So she's got so much time, and she's going to be like what, 31 by then, and she's getting better every single fight. I think MVP might be the only person at 170 who can give JDM problems on the feet. Yeah, I mean, Michael Venom Page is a problem for literally anyone on the feet. Let's be real. But I don't know. Jack might find a way to chin him. But also, I don't think Jack would strike with him. I mean, I get what you're saying. If it's just striking, then MVP might have an advantage. But I don't see JDM getting rattled by the movement, by the flash, by the finesse of MVP. I could just see him keeping that composure like Douglas Lima and then eventually timing something devastating. I could be wrong, though. I don't know. But now we got to delve into that Valentina Shevchenko versus Manon Fiorot fight because I didn't do a video on the fight like individually. Like I did my post fight reaction vid to Grasso losing, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna call it a night. I'm not in the mood to glaze Valentina Shevchenko's performance within the same night my girl lost. Um, but I figure we could talk about this fight now. Um, I mean, the fight went kind of how I thought it would. I got my prediction correct about Valentina Shevchenko versus Manon Fiorot. Like I knew going in that on the feet, Valentina Shevchenko's striking was going to be too good. And it's funny because everyone in this fight was saying that the only way Val wins is if she lay and prays, if she grapples. And a lot of people thought that if it's striking, Manon Fiorot beats her, or she can't handle Manon striking. People were saying her striking is diminished because Alexa Grasso beat her on the feet and Val needed to grapple to beat her. And I'm like, what? Like, no, that's just discrediting Alexa Grasso. Valentina's striking didn't look great against Grasso, not because her striking is washed. It didn't look good against Alexa because Alexa had the perfect striking style to go up against Shevchenko. Shevchenko has before fighting Grasso, she's never fought someone with the fluid boxing of Alexa Grasso. Whereas Manon Fiorot does not have fluid boxing. Her striking, I think, is very overrated. It's volume based. I mean, she's got good speed, but she's very sloppy. Her kicks are sloppy, and her kicks are what was getting her countered by that check hook and is what eventually got her dropped at the end of the fourth round, which cost her the win. And her punching combinations, I'm sorry, they suck. They just work on girls who can't strike. Valentina Shevchenko is a sharp striker. Her striking is world class when she's not in there with Alexa Grasso. When Grasso's not standing in front of her, Valentina looks like the best striker on planet Earth. And I mean, she was out striking Alexa in that third fight. We can't forget that. But I just knew striking wise, Valentina was going to be too good. I was right. She was a step ahead on the feet. But where Manon Fiorot did a great job was the clinching, the grappling. And I was very curious to see how the grappling aspect of this matchup would play out. I was curious to see, can Valentina go out there and easily impose her grappling on Manon? Can Manon defend the takedowns? Can Manon get takedowns of her own? And we got our questions answered. So we saw Valentina is a better striker, but Manon Fiorot can defend her takedowns. Manon Fiorot is capable of taking her down. And even in moments when she couldn't take her down, her physical strength played a factor. She was able to get lots of control time, hold Valentina against the cage. She didn't make the same mistake Tyler Santos made, which is unfortunate they didn't give her the fight because she was active when she had Valentina in the clinch. She was landing knees to the thighs, landing knees to the body, elbows off the break. Like she was landing shots, unlike Tyler. So you could make an argument to give the fight um to Manon. And honestly, I'm gonna say it right now. I thought Manon Fiorot won the fight. And this is not me being salty. I picked Shevchenko to win, and part of me is glad that I finally got an important women's MMA prediction correct. I was just preying on the downfall of Val, but I thought she lost the fight, but I don't think it was like a robbery like the Tyla fight because Val did more damage at the end of the day. She sealed it in round 4 with that knockdown, and round 5, even though I edged it to Manon, I could see a case for Shevchenko because she did land some good shots in the 5th, but round 1, I thought Manon was cooked. Like she got her nose shattered, her nose was leaking, she was bloody up, and then she got taken down and controlled at the end of the first and couldn't get up. I'm like, yeah, Manon is gonna get finished in round 2. But then Manon, to my surprise, actually adjusted. She didn't get mentally discouraged. She kept that pressure going. And that's actually something I mentioned in my prediction. Even though I didn't predict Manon, and even though I said her striking is very overrated and not as good as Val's, I said what could give Valentina trouble on the feet is not so much Manon's fluidity or technique, it's her fearlessness, her pressure. And Manon was not afraid to get hit. Manon was not afraid to go forward, and she was able to get off some good strikes on Valentina, strikes that most other opponents wouldn't miss. And in moments, Manon Fiorot did have Valentina running away, resetting, circling off the cage. And we usually don't see Valentina run like that. I'm not saying she was running because she was scared. She was trying to reset, but usually we don't see Valentina get put in that position. And I do think Manon was making her uncomfortable with her pressure. But why I thought Manon won, I'm just gonna say the rounds that I gave to Manon Fiorot before I look at these comments. I thought Manon Fiorot won the second round clearly with her pressure, with her clinching, with the takedown. I thought she won the third round, and I think that's a round that some of the judges gave to her, which is surprising because I thought that was a clear round for Manon. I thought Manon was gonna win the fourth round, and I'm like, she might win this fight like 3-1 going into the fifth. But Valentina dropped her because Manon threw a sloppy side kick that got her cracked with the check hook and put down. Val almost finished her, saved by the bell. And then we head into round 5. I thought Manon Fiorot did a little bit more in the fifth. I thought her pressure was effective. I thought in terms of octagon control, she had that. And she wasn't just controlling Valentina, she was also she was active in positions where she was controlling her. So I thought based off that, you could score the fight for Manon Fiorot. So I thought Manon Fiorot won the fight 3-2, but I could see a case for round 5 going to Shevchenko. And in my opinion, so I thought rounds 1 and 4 were clear Shevchenko. Rounds 2 and 3 were clear Manon. And round 5 was a swing round, but the judges gave that round to Val, I guess. And I guess to if you want to be the champ, you really got to beat the champ. And I guess Manon Fiorot, she made it too close and she left it in the hands of the judges. So it is what it is. Let me read these comments. And maybe that kid who's fighting Burns could be a good fight against JDM standing. Potentially, Michael Morales. That guy is good. Val versus Natalia on the feet would be interesting. Absolutely. And that's a fight I actually want to talk about. But yeah, Manning couldn't get up. She couldn't get up at the end of the first round, but she got up in the fourth, which made me feel relieved seeing her take down the fence throughout the rest of the fight. Because when I saw her get controlled at the end of the first, I'm like, oh no, Valentina's just going to easily take her down the next round and probably get a finish. But props to Manon Fiorot for showing the composure that she showed. Like Manon, honestly, she is a championship level fighter. She has a championship mentality to be able to go through that early adversity, to adjust, to come back from being dropped and not get discouraged, to fight through a broken nose. Like Manon Fiorot is a warrior, and honestly, she made a fan out of me in that fight. Like I'm gonna root for Manon in her next fight, unless she's fighting Grosso, and I'm always Team Grosso. I mean, I would pick Manon to win that fight because if she's constantly attempting takedowns like that on Val, she'll definitely try to take down Grosso, and Grosso's not defending those takedowns from Manon Fiorot. Manon's just too strong for her, but. Yeah, no, Manon Fiorot is a dog, and she deserves a lot of credit. And even though I'm annoyed that Valentina won, what I do like is I'm glad that Manon gave a good showing. And I like how there's no more easy fights for Valentina Shevchenko. Even though she continues to win, the Tyler Santos fight, competitive. Val almost lost. Val did lose to Alexa Grasso, and then should have lost the second fight, but whatever. We don't talk about that. Then the third fight she won, And then her fight after that, it was a close fight where Valentina, I thought, was on the edge of losing if it wasn't for that fourth round knockdown. I do think that we could have either seen a new champion or at least one judge would have given it to Manon Fiorot. And now she's got Natalia Silva. Well, she might actually fight Wei Li next, which I think that won't be the most difficult fight for Valentina, but Natalia Silva is going to be another tough flyweight contender for Valentina Shevchenko, and that fight interests me more than Zhang Wei Li because Zhang is just a brawler at the end of the day. Zhang Wei Li is just a brawler with some good grappling skills. I'm not saying she doesn't have good striking technique, but her striking is going to look world class against Tatiana Suarez because Tatiana can't strike to save her life. And when you take away her takedown threat, she's just helpless. Her defense isn't there, right? But the way her striking looked against Tatiana, it's not going to look that way against Valentina Shevchenko. Like, no freaking way. Like, I don't think she's going to touch Valentina. And she almost lost to Yan Xiaonan. Yan Xiaonan smoked her whenever they were striking. And I don't think Wei Li's going to be able to out-grapple Valentina Shevchenko, and she's not going to outstrike her. And Val might finish her or just win a dominant decision. But as far as Natalia Silva is concerned, Natalia is more technical than Zhang Wei Li. She's got good boxing. She's got great kicks. She's got great footwork. She's fast. She's got high volume. She's got good takedown defense. So I do think that on the feet, she's 100% going to be a problem for Shevchenko. Shevchenko didn't smoke she couldn't smoke Alexa Grasso on the feet like that. She couldn't. When she was striking with Alexa Grasso, she struggled. It was competitive. I mean, she was winning in moments, but Grasso was able to get off combinations that she needed to get off that she couldn't get off on Natalia. Natalia shut down Grasso's offense. And Grasso went out swinging against Natalia. She did what she was supposed to do, and it just didn't work. Whereas she tries it on Valentina, I think it's going to work every time because Valentina is a stationary target because of her Muay Thai striking style. Whereas Natalia, a little more loose, a little more fluid. So I think if Natalia can keep the fight standing, it's going to be a tough night for Shevchenko. And I mean, I don't know who's going to win because I don't want to count out Val. Valentina's got that championship grit and experience. She's good at adjusting mid-fight. And I do think that if anyone can figure out the striking style of Natalia, it's definitely Valentina. But yeah, I don't know. We're just gonna have to see when the fight happens, if it happens. I mean, they might go with the Wei Li fight next, but I'm definitely interested. And I kind of do want Natalia to win. It's not even because I'm a fan of Natalia Silva. It's just I'm ready for this new generation to take over. I'm trying to see a new goddamn flyweight champion, bro. It's been Valentina Shevchenko for the last half decade. It's time for someone new. We got a glimpse of it with Alexa. We were close with Manon Fiorot till she got knocked down in the fourth. I hope that Natalia is the chosen one, and then we can just move on, and then we can see different flyweight title fights without the name Valentina Shevchenko in the bracket. Like, she's done enough in this sport. Val has that assassin look. Yeah, I agree. Half a century. I know, man. Val wants to complete those 8 rubies. So if she tries to do that, I don't think she's gonna make all 8. I think she's gonna lose. Like, she's not gonna win 8 fights in a row. That's unrealistic. Maybe back in like 2019 when those new belts were a thing and they made rubies a part of the UFC titles. Back then, I would be saying, yeah, of course she'll complete those 8 rubies, because she's young, she's got time. But now Valentina's 37 years old and women's flyweight's improving, and there are no easy fights for Shevchenko. All of her fights, except for the third Grasso fight, have been hard fights. Like the fact that Manon was competitive with her, there's people saying that it could have gone either way. It just says a lot, you know? The fact that she almost lost to Tyler Santos says a lot. So I think that Valentina losing is possible. And it's going to happen probably within a year from now, especially if we get Dakota Ditcheva in the UFC. I'm going to pick Dakota Ditcheva to win. As long as she's got the takedown defense, I think she or Natalia will have the perfect striking style to go up against Shevchenko. Someone like Manon who just overswings, overextends, leaves her chin in the air, just isn't going to be that kind of fighter who's going to beat Val. She's too sloppy and overly dependent on the clinching and grappling. Yep, exactly. Chicks like Dakota and Silva. I was gonna title this live like Operation Save Grasso's Career, but right now I just don't have too many ideas off the top of my head on how I can map out like the rest of Alexa's career. I might have to save that for like an individual video, but I wonder what's next for Alexa, man. Um I could see them making the Jazz Divisius fight, but I hope they don't because Jazz is a really good grappler and Alexa doesn't have great takedown defense, and I don't want to see her get grinded out another fight. I don't want to see her lose 3 fights in a row, man. And I think that Jazz Divisius is probably going to be a title contender within like the next year or so. And speaking of threats to Valentina, Jazz Divisius could be a problem for Shevchenko. Potentially. I mean, I know she lost to Natalia Silva, and Shevchenko would probably win against Jasmine, but Jasmine is a really solid wrestler and a way better wrestler than Erin Blanchfield. And I used to overhype Erin's wrestling. I think Jasmine's wrestling is a problem. I think if there's a good fight to make for Alexa Grasso next, either give her the winner of Macy Barber versus Erin Blanchfield. I think she beats both. Or if Rose Namajunas beats Miranda Maverick, make Thug Rose versus make Thug Rose versus Alexa Grasso, because those are ladies I've been a fan of for a long time. I've been a fan of Rose since 2017, um a fan of Grasso since 2019. I've passionately followed their journey for years. I've got to witness their ups, their downs, their title wins, their title losses. Um, I've backed them for a long time, and they're two veterans of the game. It would just be nice to see them go at it finally. And that's a matchup that I've always kind of envisioned. Like when Grasso joined flyweight in 2020, and I know Rose wasn't a flyweight back then, but for some reason, I've always thought of that fight. Like when I think DC, it was on the DC and Helwani show before it became DC and RC, or whoever that black guy was who was on those DC ESPN shows with him. I remember, like, I think Ariel said, or DC said, that Grasso was one of the best boxers in women's MMA. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if she's a better boxer than Rose. Um, but hey, we could put that to the test now. But because of that debate back then, it made me want to see that fight. Like, maybe in the future, Rose can move up and fight Alexa Grasso at flyweight. And now Rose Namajunas is a flyweight. Grasso is a flyweight. They're no longer strawweights. They're two veterans who are kind of on a similar career trajectory. They're coming off losses. Well, Rose is coming off a loss. Grasso is coming off 2 losses, but I think it's a safe fight to make for both ladies. It's totally a great fight, Rose Namajunas and Alexa Grasso. And it's interesting too because man, I flip flopped on that fight for so long because at the peak of myself being a Rose fan, a biased Rose fan that would pick her in every single fight, how I was with Alexa Grasso, um, I used to believe that, yeah, if they would fight, Rose would likely win that fight. Um, but then when Rose lost to Carla and then lost to Manon and Grasso became the champion, won the belt, defended the belt. When Grasso was on that championship run, I was under the belief that Rose does not beat Alexa Grasso. But now Grasso has lost 2 fights in a row in dominant fashion. She's looking more beatable than ever now. I mean, so is Rose, but I could honestly see how Rose could win that fight because, like Grasso, Namajunas has very good hands, but like Natalia Silva, Rose has very good lateral movement and very good at fighting off the back foot. Like Namajunas is a very skilled fighter, very difficult to beat, and every time Rose loses, it's never dominant. She's always in the fight. She's always competitive. She was competitive with Manon. She was competitive with Aaron in losing. She was beating Jessica before the head slam. Carla had to get lucky that Rose was sleepwalking in that fight to even beat her. Some would argue Wei Lee beat her, but that wasn't an easy fight. So Rose would definitely give Alexa Grasso hell, but that fight depends. It would honestly depend because Rose, she can box. She's got the footwork like Natalia, but she also has a takedown threat like Valentina Shevchenko. Rose is a more well-rounded mixed martial artist than Alexa, and Rose will go for takedowns, and she could definitely take down Alexa Grasso. Um, who do you want to see against Val, Whaley or Natalia? I want to see Natalia because even though the Whaley fight is a big fight, they've both been champs for a long time. They're goats of their respective divisions. I just don't. I don't think the fight when it plays out. I think people are gonna realize, damn, we hyped this fight up for nothing. Like we made it seem like Whaley had a chance when she never really did. Because I don't really see a path to victory for Zhang Wei Li. I don't see her knocking out Valentina Shevchenko. I don't see her out striking Shevchenko. I don't see her out wrestling Shevchenko. I don't see her out cardioing Shevchenko either. Yeah, I want to see it too. There are no more easy fights for Valentina Shevchenko, and she keeps getting tested, and I would like to see her against another tough opponent in Natalia Silva. And I don't really have an official pick. I mean, I might lean Valentina. Probably, like she'll probably find a way. It'll just come down to Natalia's takedown defense. But if she's able to defend takedowns, then yeah, like I said, it's gonna be a tough fight for Valentina. Oh yeah, Bilal JDM was an absolute war. Looks like it's gonna be Oliveira versus Taporia at UFC 317 for the interim lightweight belt. Yeah, I heard about that because Islam said he's not vacating the belt. He wants to wear 2 belts. Like he wants that visual of if he beats Jack, he doesn't just wear 1 belt; he wears 2. Um, and I mean, I guess that's a good idea to not vacate because I guess if he loses, he's still the lightweight champion. He can just move back down and then fight the winner of Topuria and Oliveira. But I just hope they announce the main event for UFC 317, man. Fuck, it's taking so long. And I heard Magomed Ankalaev say that he was offered the rematch with Alex Pereira, and he's waiting on Alex to accept it at UFC 317. That would be a good International Fight Week main event. I mean, Pereira headlined International Fight Week June last year. You could do it again this year. And I mean, imagine having Ankalaev versus Pereira too, and Oliveira versus Oliveira versus Topuria on the same card, plus Pantoja versus Azokura. That would be pretty sick, if you ask me. And if Ilya Taporia goes out there and he sleeps Oliveira, he's gonna be like deemed as one of the biggest villains in UFC history, bro. Knocking out fan favorites like Volk, Max, and then Charles, bro. When are people gonna start to treat Ilya like a fan favorite and not the Burden who beats the fan favorites? Because me personally, I'm a fan of Ilya Taporia. I like his fight style, and I want to see Ilya do well in lightweight. I mean, I don't want Charles to lose, but it would definitely be better if Ilya would win because then Ilya will establish himself as a legit lightweight contender. He'll be the interim lightweight champion, and then that will secure the Islam fight. But if Makhachev beats Jack and then vacates the lightweight title, then um, Ilya Topuria is going to be promoted to undisputed. Oh yeah, a lot of people are counting out Charles Oliveira. And I could see why, but I mean, that is definitely a good test for Ilya. Like Oliveira is very dangerous and very slept on in this matchup, but I do lean Ilya Topuria to win. But Oliveira definitely has ways he could challenge Ilya Topuria. Oliveira's got the size advantage, he's got the length advantage. Oliveira has good offensive wrestling. Killer BJJ, very good striking. Ilya's a better boxer than Charles. I don't think he's a better striker than Charles, but I think the difference maker in this fight and why I think Ilya's going to win is because he just has too much power. His fight IQ is too solid. He's too good at making reads in fights, and eventually he will find you. Even if you're giving him problems, even if you're connecting on him, Ilya Taporia stays composed. He's good at keeping a tight guard, rolling with the punches, and once he downloads that data, you're cooked. Just ask Volkanovski. Just ask Max Holloway. Just ask the several other Ilya Taporia victims in his wake. Like, I think it's going to be a fight where Charles does well. Like, he'll do better than people are expecting. He'll land some good shots. He'll get a few takedowns, but I just don't think that he'll be able to hold Ilya down. And if he can't hold Ilya down, unless he knocks Topuria out, which it is possible if he doesn't hurt Ilya on the feet, if he can't get Ilya's respect and can't hold him down, Ilya's eventually going to get this fight in the pocket and he's going to tag Oliveira and he's going to put him away. Because even though Oliveira has shown good recovery against Chandler twice and Poirier and Gaethje, Ilya Topuria is a better finisher than Dustin's a pretty solid finisher, but I think Ilya is a better finisher than all three of those guys I mentioned. And I don't think he'll be afraid to follow Charles to the ground if he drops him because Ilya Topuria has a very solid ground game. Like he's very good on the ground, very high level jiu-jitsu, and I think he'll be confident to stack up on top of Oliveira and land damaging ground and pound if he cracks him. But usually, how Ilya finishes go is once he drops you, you're usually out cold, except for Josh Emmett and except for maybe Bryce Mitchell. But I mean, when he dropped Max, Max was out. When he dropped Herbert, Herbert was out. When he dropped Volk, Volk was out. And it's very possible the moment Oliveira drops, he might not be conscious and he might not have room to recover. Yeah, he does swarm you like a snake when he has you hurt. Ilya is the master at capitalizing on hurt opponents. He's like a pit bull. I do agree though that Ilya should have stayed. He definitely should have stayed at he definitely should have stayed at 145 cuz I would have loved to have seen him beat Volkanovski again, fight Diego Lopez. That would have been a pretty sick fight. I wanted the Mosvar Evloev fight, the battle of the undefeated. They were supposed to fight before. I do feel like there were a lot of matchups left on the table at 145 for Ilya. But I hope this move is worth it, man, because if he loses, that's not going to be a good look. From sleeping Volk to then leaving, letting Volk, the guy you beat, get the belt back, and then you end up losing your debut in a different weight class while Volk's the champ again. That's just, I don't know. That's just not going to look good for Ilya. But the sooner they announce UFC 317, the better, because that's like what 7 weeks from now. Like that's very close. Yeah, Oliveira has very good pressure. That's one thing we can't take away from Charles is he will get in your face. He'll get in your face. He'll throw those jumping front kicks. He'll grab you up in the clinch, throw knees, and it'll definitely be interesting to see um how Ilya deals with that forward momentum of Oliveira. Because Oliveira can be very smothering with that pressure. Yeah, I like Oliveira too. Yeah, he won't be afraid, but that could be risky. I mean, maybe it could lead to him catching Oliveira, or sorry, maybe it could lead to Oliveira catching Ilya, or it could get Oliveira himself getting caught. Man, but I feel so gutted for Alexa Grasso still. Um, and part of the title is Alexa Grasso done? And I know Grasso is young; she's 31 years old, but she peaked. She peaked in her late 20s when she fought for the belt and won it. But I don't know, something about Grasso just doesn't seem the same. And I'm not trying to take away from Val's performance in the third fight or Natalia's performance in this last fight. They both did a great job. They both did what they needed to do to shut down Alexa's game. But there's just something I'm noticing in Alexa now, a different energy in her walkouts when she's in the cage, you know. Um, Something just feels different. Like she doesn't have that same aura about her anymore. She doesn't seem to have that same confidence. Like even in the trilogy against Valentina, she kind of looked off, you know? She didn't seem as switched on. She didn't seem as confident. She seemed very flat. And then even in this fight, same thing. And you know, Natalia Silva. She's got the footwork. She looked bigger than Grasso too. Like the size, the length definitely played a factor. And I do think the tail of the tape is capping when they say Natalia is shorter and has a shorter reach. Natalia Silva is not shorter than Alexa and does not have a shorter reach because that's not what I saw in the octagon. But Grosso just something just isn't right about her. Like, is it just me, chat? Or does Grosso just seem a little bit diminished? Like, it feels like that 3 fight series with Valentina took a lot out of her. And I was worried about that going into this fight. Like you can't look at me and tell me that the Grasso we saw at Noche UFC 2024 and the Grasso we saw last night is the same Grasso on that win streak to the title and the Grasso we saw in 2023 against Valentina Shevchenko. Because Grasso in the first two Val fights, she looked like an absolute killer. I mean, she went out there, looked confident, focused, wasn't mentally deterred even when she was losing the first fight. She was still in the fight, still dangerous, still tagging Valentina in moments. And she had that confidence and that timing as well. Like when Val spun, she was able to perfectly time it and jump on her back and choke her out. Same thing when she fought Joanne Calderwood. And then last night when Natalia Silva would spin, Grasso would freeze in front of her and not do anything about it. And I understand it's easier said than done. I'm sure Natalia was prepared for that. Natalia is also very fast with her spin kicks, and Grasso maybe just couldn't time it. But I just remember going into this fight thinking, man, if Natalia spins in front of her, Grasso can be an opportunist and jump on her back. But we didn't see that last night. I don't know. Maybe I'm reaching. Maybe I'm just biased for Grasso and coping, but something about Alexa just seems different now. Her confidence seems shattered from that third Val fight. Like, I think that she had burnout going into the trilogy, and then getting dominated the way she did, I think took a lot out of her. It took a lot out of her mentally, spiritually. And I don't know. I think what Grasso needs to do, I think she needs to see a sports psychologist, because this fight game is mental more than it is physical. Because you can have the physical talent, but mentally, if you're not on point mentally, then you're gonna fall behind. Silva has a giant ass and thighs. Oh yeah, tell me about it. Bigger thighs, quick muscle twitch, powerful, accurate speed. And it's going to be interesting to see how Val deals with that fast twitch speed of Natalia Silva. But yeah, Grasso, it's possible she might not have that hunger because she reached the top of the mountain. I know before fighting Valentina, there was this is my first time. This is my first rodeo. This is my first ever title shot. I'm fighting Valentina. I'm fighting the best in the division. I'm fighting the girl that everyone's afraid of, and it's on me to be the one to beat her. So Grasso just came in that first fight with a different level of confidence and motivation. And that's why she looked as good as she did. And then the second fight, she came in there with that confidence of, I already beat her and I know I can do it again. And then when they had the third fight, I feel like her attitude was like, oh, here we go again. I got to fight her again. And she may have not had that same drive that she needed to help her in those first two fights, where Valentina, she was focused on that revenge. She was locked in and motivated. And then Natalia Silva, with her, it's like, this is my time to shine now. I want to be a champion. I want to fight for the title. And Natalia just wasn't going to be stopped that night. Charles is 35 and he needs to do it now. Facts. Charles is going to rock his boat in exchange on the feet, then knock him out by ground strikes. Oh, so you think Charles Oliveira beats Ilia Topuria? That's an interesting prediction. So you're predicting that Charles do Bronx Oliveira stops Ilya and becomes the interim champ. I honestly would be so happy, and I'm 100% rooting for that outcome. I hope that you're right. I do want to see Oliveira become champ again, even though it's interim. There's a chance that Islam might not move back down, and if he doesn't, that belt is Oliveira's. And now that Volkanovski became the first 35-year-old, well, he's 36, but he became the first man above the age of 35 to win a title fight in weight classes lightweight and below. So if Volkanovski can do it, then there's got to be hope for Oliveira as well. Is Justin Gaethje Topuria a competitive fight, or does he run through Justin too? Ooh, that's interesting. I always used to favor Gaethje in that hypothetical matchup between him and Ilya. Like, leading into Max Holloway versus Ilya Topuria, when I was picking Max, I was saying, oh, Gaethje's a far more dangerous opponent than Ilya. He would beat Ilya. Look at what Max did to Ilya. But after seeing that last fight, after seeing that last fight, after seeing what Ilya did to Max and comparing their performances, For as dangerous as Justin is, I would favor Topuria. Now, I don't know if he runs through Gaethje. I do think Gaethje would pose some problems with his leg kicks. Um, and I do think in moments he could probably tag Ilya, but I don't know if he knocks Ilya out or drops him. And Ilya Topuria is a better boxer than Gaethje, and plus he's got that small man skill. Have you ever heard of that? Where fighters from lower divisions they move up, and they're much better than the fighters in the higher divisions. I could kind of see that being the case in Ilya Justin. So I think it's a competitive fight, but I do think eventually, if Gaethje's not able to crack him first, then eventually Ilya's going to put him away, most likely. Um, you're picking Charles because he usually pulls through when he's counted out. I mean, that's a good point. That is true. Like when Oliveira fought Chandler, well, actually, a lot of people had Oliveira winning that fight. Most people counted him out against Kevin Lee and Tony Ferguson. But no, I remember back in 2021, I felt like one of the very few people who had Chandler. And Chandler was the underdog. I was debating with people. I'm like, nah, Chandler's going to beat Charles Oliveira. He's going to be the lightweight champion. And then Charles beat him. But yeah, a lot of people were going for Poirier, Gaethje kind of. Well, actually, no, Oliveira was the favorite in that fight. But I see what you're saying, though. Oliveira, from 2020 to 2022, had that underdog story arc where he was counted out, but he kept proving people wrong and kept winning. Besides that, Holloway was beating Topuria before he landed that punch from hell. I watched that fight again recently. I don't think Max was winning, honestly. Watching it at first, I'm like, oh, Max could have won the first. He could have won the second round, but in rewatching, I thought Ilya was winning the entire fight until he KO'd him. But Max was competitive though. Like he was landing some good shots on Ilya, but I think Ilya just had his number in the octagon, man. The calf kicks were good. Max was hesitant to unload like big combinations. Ilya was the one who was landing the harder shots even before the knockout blow. Ilya got the takedown. Ilya was just better. Team Khabib and Islam pressured and blackmailed Bilal to lose this fight. They dirty like that. Were they? Where were they when Bilal needs them the most? How do they blackmail him? Like, are you suggesting like, oh, they purposely chose not to corner him or coach him or help him prepare for JDM? Or are you saying that they told him to throw the fight? Yeah, I know he turned his career around in 2018, but even then, nobody, including me, thought he would be a top contender or a world champion. Like, it wasn't until 2020 where people started to wake up to Oliveira. I mean, I was still doubting. I was confident Chandler would destroy him, but yeah, by 2021, that's where Oliveira truly peaked when he became the champion. What about Dustin Poirier or Ilia Topuria? Man, if Dustin Poirier was like 5, 6 years younger, I would probably go with Poirier to win. Poirier's got the grit. He's got the boxing to match Ilia Topuria. He's got the power to threaten Ilia Topuria. Like Ilia, Dustin's very good on the ground. Dustin's takedown defense is kind of hit or miss in certain fights, but when he's really prepared, he can defend takedowns or he can scramble back to his feet if he needs to. So a younger Dustin Poirier, I think, would beat Ilya in a war. But Dustin now, I feel like, is slightly diminished. He's kind of past his prime. Even though he looked good against Islam and lasted 4 rounds, there were still a lot of aspects about Dustin's game that seemed kind of off. He seemed a little bit slower. He got rocked a little easier than he normally would. He seemed a little more stiffer than usual. Um, and even against Benoit Saint Denis, Dustin Poirier did not look good in that fight up until round two when Benoit's staph infection started to kick in and Poirier started putting hands on him and was able to put him away. Before that, Poirier looked terrible. So I don't think Poirier's in his prime anymore. So like current Dustin versus current Ilya, I think Dustin still does well, but I think Ilya would eventually TKO him, probably like within the second or third round. I mean, we saw Michael Chandler back Dustin against the cage and tag him, but Chandler was just swinging like an ape, swinging wild, no technique. And even Dustin himself said that if Chandler threw with a little more technique, a little more accuracy, he would have got him out of there. And we know Ilia Topuria is tighter and more accurate with his shot selection than Chandler. The oblique kick was key for Holloway in the Topuria fight. Yeah, and he was using that in moments, right? What about Diego Lopez or Ilia Topuria? I think Ilia would win, but that would be a very dangerous fight for Topuria. I mean, I know Volkanovski, who Ilia beat Diego, but they're different styles. Like Volkanovski is an elusive striker who doesn't stand in front of you. He's got good side to side movement, good at breaking rhythm. Whereas Ilya, he stands in front of you. He doesn't move a lot. Um, and he will go blow for blow with you in exchange, where Volkanovski won't. So there might be more openings for Diego to catch Ilya, but I would favor Topuria just because he's just more championship level than Diego. Like I think that there's a risk that Ilya could potentially get knocked out or clipped in the fight, but ultimately I think the fight IQ, the defensive striking, and the superior boxing of Ilya would eventually play a factor and win him the fight. BSD called out three guys last night: Gaethje, Gamrot, and Hooker. Well, I mean, I don't think he wants that Gaethje fight in reality. I mean, I know he called him out before, but we already saw what happened last time he fought a top lightweight contender. He got slept. And we saw what Gaethje did to Poirier, even though it was a fluke. So, unless Benoit wants to get chinned again, I would advise him against taking that fight. And I don't even think Gaethje would take a fight against him. I feel like the fight with Gamrot seems more realistic because Gamrot literally offered to fight Benoit Saint Denis on short notice, and for some reason Benoit declined. And maybe he declined because of the notice that was given, and knowing Gamrot's style, he probably felt, I want to be more prepared if I'm going to go up against the wrestling of Gamrot. And I guess he thought Kyle Prebolek was less of a risk, which I guess that makes sense. But I don't know if the UFC would give him Hooker or Gaethje, or I don't know if Hooker or Gaethje would accept that fight with Benoit Saint Denis. So I think of all three options, he's getting the Gamrot fight. Yeah, Gamrot would probably beat him. You asked me Gene Silva versus Ilia Topuria. Great fight. Great fight. I think Gene Silva could definitely pose problems to Ilia with his striking, with his speed, with his technique. I think Ilia would win, though. I don't know if Gene Silva is ready for that level of competition yet. I mean, I know he's good, and beating Bryce Mitchell is a good start. And I mean, Ilia Topuria beat Bryce on his road to the title. So I don't want to say that Gene Silva can't be a top flight featherweight, but right now my money would be on Ilia to win that fight. BSD is a marauder. Yeah, he is. Barboza said he's coming back to lightweight. Interesting. It's kind of like how Aldo declared he's coming back to featherweight, but then retired. But that's an interesting choice by Ilya. I wonder who, or sorry, not Ilya, Barboza. I wonder who he would fight at lightweight. You know, they could probably make Benoit Saint Denis versus Edson Barboza, but I also wouldn't mind the Michael Chandler fight that you mentioned. That is a winnable fight for Michael Chandler. Like Chandler needs a win badly, bro. And I think he could definitely beat Barboza because he's got the wrestling advantage. He's got the pressure, and Barboza does not like being pressured. He kind of gets uncomfortable. He folds when the fight gets tough. I mean, I don't know. Then again, though, that could be dangerous for Chandler because the kicks of Edson are so dangerous. His leg kicks, his body kicks, they're devastating. Like, if Chandler can't take him down or close the distance, he's getting cooked by Barboza. Oh, they would definitely cook Chandler. Like those body kicks are nasty. Those leg kicks are nasty. And when he goes high, he could put you away. Yeah, it's a winnable fight, but Chandler will find a way to lose, probably. I think they need to do Chandler versus Connor. I see Conor McGregor training on Instagram. He's looking good. And he said him and Mike Chandler have unfinished business. They just need to get that fight going, man. Make it happen. Make it happen. Maybe October this year. I don't know. But the Notorious needs to come back at some point, man. And honestly, I think Connor would beat Chandler now. Like last year, I was thinking that Conor McGregor would lose, but now seeing Chandler's last couple of performances and how diminished he's looked, and seeing him against Patty and the damage he took, I think now it's a good fight for Conor to come back to. I heard Joel Alvarez pulled out because he had plans on moving up to welterweight. Now that's a guy who can definitely challenge JDM standing. He's taller and has a longer reach. Yeah, I don't know if he would challenge JDM, to be honest. But I mean, that does make sense though. He probably lied about the hand injury. And in reality, he probably pulled out because he knew he was going to miss weight. And he's like, you know what? I'm just going to pull out. I'm not going to bother trying to show up and then miss weight. I'm going to not show up and I'm just going to change weight classes. Because it's just like, it's so out of nowhere, pulling out of a fight and then saying I'm changing weight classes. That just seems way too suspicious. Oh, yeah. Why do I get deja vu from that fight? They never fought before, right? Barboza and Miller, but that could be a fight. I think Barboza would absolutely destroy Jim Miller if they fight. But that's definitely a fight you could put together, though. Or what about Barboza versus Chase Hooper? That might be interesting. Honestly, I give last night's card a 5 out of 10. And I actually regret going to the sports bar to watch it because it was so awkward. Like, there were not many people there by the time the main card started. And I was miserable the whole time, bro. Alexa lost. Aldo fucking lost. Valentina won. Um, and I felt bad for Bilal. I actually wanted Bilal to win, so I didn't really feel happy about any of the outcomes, man. Especially Aldo. That's one fight I did not talk about. Jose Aldo just looked washed though against Eamon Zahabi. Like, he's just too competitive with him in the first round, even though he won it. And then round two didn't look good in the second round on the feet. Was getting touched up a lot by Eamon, which is probably why Zahabi got that decision. And then round three, this is what bothers me. I'm glad Aldo retired after that. I'm glad he retired because Jose Aldo rocked Eamon Zahabi, dropped him a bunch of times. I thought he was about to finish him. And then when Eamon survived, I'm like, okay, well, Aldo secured the fight. He's won now. He's going to win by decision. But then I noticed Aldo's gassed out of his mind. Eamon's pressure cooking him. I'm like, wait a minute. Hold up. Is Jose Aldo about to get finished within the same round he almost finished Eamon? And then he fails a takedown, ends up on bottom, gets split open by elbows. I'm like, bro, there's no way Aldo's about to get finished right now. And then he survives, but they don't give the fight to Jose Aldo. And that's the second straight loss in a row to a lower ranked bantamweight, which is so embarrassing. Like, Aldo is losing to guys that he would never be losing to in his prime. Like, I don't think Eamon Zahabi's that good. I don't think Zahabi is going to be anything in this division. Neither will Mario Bautista. I just think Aldo's cooked. And it's sad because Aldo looked so amazing in his comeback against Jonathan Martinez. And then the UFC wasted his comeback. They didn't give him a top contender at bantamweight. They didn't make the Cejudo fight again. They didn't make the Cruz fight. They're like, we'll give you Mario Bautista instead. How about that? Or we'll give you fucking Eamon Zahabi, and then he loses and then gets re-retired. And as far as picks go on the main card, I went 2-3. I got wrong Grasso. I got wrong Bilal. I got wrong Aldo. The only ones I got right were Benoit Saint Denis and Valentina Shevchenko. Yeah, I agree. They should have given it to Aldo because even though he got taken down and like cut with an elbow, at the end of the day, he rocked Eamon Zahabi. Like, he almost finished him. That's got to count for something. Like, how can you not give Jose Aldo that round? Yeah. Yeah, UFC. I mean, UFC 316 does have some good fights. You got Kevin Holland versus Vicente Luque, banger. And then what other fights are on there like outside of the title fights? Um, Hold on, let me check. Okay, so we got Mario Bautista versus Cheeto Vera, decent fight. Um, Luque versus what's that guy's name? Kevin Holland. Oh, and then Kelvin Gastelum versus Joseph Pfeiffer. That's right. Okay, so those are some pretty good fights, I guess. But yeah, I'm not that excited for 316, man. My love and hope for this sport is kind of shot after last night. I mean, it's been shot since UFC 306 when Grasso lost the belt. I mean, Pena kind of restored my faith, but then my hope got crushed with Tatiana. Grasso lost again. I don't really have much to look forward to. I'm not excited for 316 because I'm a Pena fan and I know what's about to happen with Kayla Harrison. Um, I like Sean too, and I know he's about to go 0-2 to Murad Dvalishvili, and it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be a repeat of UFC 306. Like, I don't even know if I'm going to watch the card, if I'm being honest. Honestly, I think 317 is going to be a better card, and 318. Like, those are our pay-per-views to look forward to, man. Yeah, me neither. Like, because O'Malley doesn't deserve the rematch. He hasn't had any other fights in between to show if he's like made any improvements or not. He's jumping straight back in there with Marab. Like, I just don't see what's going to be different. Like, unless he chins Marab, I don't see him winning by decision. I don't see him defending the takedowns as frequently as he needs to. I still see him succumbing to the pace of Marab. Yeah, Marab right now is just on another level, and if anyone's beating him, it's not going to be Sean O'Malley. And I don't see Juliana Pena winning either. I think Pena's going to get dominated for 5 rounds. She'll probably get like dominated for a couple rounds, then get submitted, or just lose like 50-45, 49-46. And then O'Malley, it'll just be the exact same fight. Why is Taporia Oliveira going to headline UFC 317 when it isn't a title fight? Well, it's going to be for the interim title, is what they're saying. If they paid Marab to take a dive, do you think Marab would actually do it? Like, do you think they'd pay off Marab to just not wrestle Sean? Interim is lame, bro. I mean, I'm kind of disappointed. I would have liked to have seen Oliveira Taporia just be for the vacant undisputed belt, rather than Islam hold up the title while moving up. But I guess Islam wants that option of if I don't beat Jack, I at least still want to be the champion in my own division. So I think he's keeping his belt as a safety net. They seriously are running out of big fights to make, scraping the bottom of the barrel, bro. Facts, man. They try to make Ankalaev Pereira too. I don't think Pereira accepted it. They try to make, or they try to make Islam Ilya, but now we know that ain't happening. They haven't announced Oliveira versus Topuria, so they got to get going, man. It's literally May 11th, and June 29th or 28th is not far from now. But I agree though. with Aldo, because I mean the fact that he literally showed up and didn't even try to make weight was very telling. Like he missed weight by 10 fucking pounds over the limit and was like, "Oh, well I decided I actually don't want to fight at bantamweight anymore." And it's like, "Bro, why would you agree to fight a bantamweight fighter in the bantamweight division, then last minute decide I want to fight at featherweight?" Like that just makes no sense. Like, and that now you want to decide that you're just gonna permanently fight at featherweight. It's like, bro, what the heck is the point? You know, it just makes no sense. Why? You could have after the Mario loss, he could have been like, you know what? I'm going to featherweight. He could have announced that from the beginning. So the fact that he had no motivation to make the weight just showed that he was mentally checked out. And then you could just even see it in his performance. And then the statement he made after is very telling. Like he doesn't have it anymore. He doesn't have that warrior spirit and that hunger in him anymore, which that's fair. If you don't have it, then you don't got to keep pushing it. Aldo better stay retired. That was super unprofessional, and more stuff like that is going to harm his legacy. Well, I think he is going to stay retired. You don't have to worry about him coming back. But yeah, I agree. I didn't like what Aldo did there with the blatant weight miss while being unapologetic. Pulling crap like that will pull his legacy down into BJ Penn category. I mean, if he keeps fighting, then yeah, but I mean, he's protecting his legacy by not continuing. Honestly, he should have left that Jonathan Martinez fight as a one off. That should have been like his one off comeback, or at least, I don't know, honestly. Maybe he should have declined Mario Bautista and asked for another fight. Like he should have been like, "No, I want to fight Davison Figueiredo. I want to fight Corey Sandhagen." Like he should have demanded Henry Cejudo or something rather than what they gave him. Or better yet, maybe he just should not have came back at all after he lost to Marab. Hmm. Another fighter who's washed and needs to retire? Jessica Andrade, man, she's cooked. She's toast. And I mean, the way she got smoked by Jazz, that was just sad to watch, man. I usually don't feel bad for Andrade when she loses. This is the first time I'm like, wow, I actually feel kind of sad. Like, she got smoked. Looked physically weak, physically overpowered, looked so hesitant on the feet. I just think she just has so much mileage on her, man. She's been fighting for so long. She's taken so much damage, so many losses too, which I think just has taken so much out of her. And I don't understand why Jessica Andrade. I don't get why she left strawweight after she was building momentum when she beat Mackenzie Dern by KO, beat Marina Rodriguez. Why the frick would Jessica? Why would she leave? Why would she go fight Natalia Silva and then Jazz Vicious, two of the most dangerous prospects at flyweight? That was like career suicide. Like, where the hell is Jessica's manager? Like, she needs to fire her management team for, enabling this stupid career decision making. Because if they would have told her, no, stay at strawweight, fight Verna Jani Robo, which I don't know if she would have beat Verna, maybe not, but fight a top contender at strawweight, then you can fight for the title at strawweight. They could have told her that. Because now, even if she comes back to strawweight, she's going to drop down the rankings. She won't have that same momentum anymore, and she has to reset. She has to start all over again just to get back to where she wants to be. Anyway, I'm going to bounce from this live now, but I'll see y'all later.